Hi everyone, welcome to Protective Diet Education. Tonight's lesson we're broadcasting live and open to the public. We've opened our Protective Diet Education classroom to the public on Facebook, on Protective Diet's Facebook page, as well as on Instagram and on our YouTube channel. For the first time ever, we're broadcasting live and to the public. This is a public service announcement. I want to empower everyone, especially when it comes to the subject of cancer, because so many people that I meet on a daily basis at the dog park, at the grocery store, they see me buying all this produce and they ask me questions. And I hear this ongoing fear of cancer because it runs in your family, because someone you know was diagnosed with cancer. You lost your best friend to cancer, your mother, your brother, someone close to you, and now you feel like, oh my gosh, it's coming to me next. I've heard this from my friends, like, I know it's going to happen to me. I don't know what to do, and they just continue going on in the same pattern that whoever they knew lived their life, same lifestyle, same diet. Maybe they try supplements, they're adding different things to their diet, or they think maybe exercise will decrease their risk. But I want to give you a few day-to-day examples, things you can apply starting right now that you probably have in your kitchen, or you can pick up easily or click and ship from Amazon to start infusing some protection into your diet. Number one, to prevent disease, reverse disease, or eliminate risk of disease is to eliminate all the fertilizers of disease or fertilizers of cancer in your diet. Eliminate all of the cholesterol in your diet if you have elevated cholesterol. These are not hard things to do. Our Protective Diet community is doing this every single day, along with Jerry and I. And we are reversing disease, just as I did. I reversed the disease in my 20s and 30s, eliminated heart disease, obesity, acid reflux, plantar fasciitis, inflammatory diseases, my list goes on, and skin disorders. This was very simple to eliminate by taking the things that ignite the disease, that fertilize the disease out of the diet. Then what we're doing in this Protective Diet Education classroom is supporting you through it, but we are also teaching you tonight some things that you can add into the diet to enhance protection. There is so much research going on about this right now, about protective spices in the diet, about green tea and black tea, and how we can add these liquid antioxidants that offer protection to us all throughout our day. Caloric-free protection. So you're eating your protective diet, your 3 meals a day, or maybe you're doing 2 meals a day, and you are loving it and you're feeling good. But I'm going to show you how to get that protective diet even more protective by giving your body a little break between meals so that your body can take the focus off of digestion. If you're constantly snacking, we just had a Stop the Snacks challenge, which next week's lesson, we're going to go over more tips for stopping the snacks to get you to eat 3 nice sized meals a day and feeling good and giving your body a break in between the meals so that it can scan the body for any irregular cells or dysfunction. And it can repair, because our bodies are designed to do this. But we use tools from plants to be able to repair the body. So those tools are being featured in the EXCLT journal. There are articles written and studies showing that spices, simple spices that we all have in our pantry, and if you don't have them in your pantry yet, I'm going to get them in your pantry on a protective diet. And these spices, they protect DNA from shifting towards a cancerous state. They are protective to the plant. Like we have, there's a recipe for tuber tonic that everyone is making on a protective diet. We have several beverages, and I'm going to show a few of those tonight and help you to improve what you're sipping on. Water is fantastic. I want everyone including water in their diet, but I want you to infuse your water as well, because when we're not eating, we still want the DNA protective benefits of spices and tubers to protect, just flowing through our blood at all times, because what it's doing is it protects us from free radicals of the sun, and we're going into the spring and summer months. And there's lessons on a protective diet. Those of you that are in our community and in our classroom every week for almost 5 years, congratulations. And you've watched the lesson on vitamins and sunscreen. Lesson number 5, it's way back from the beginning of protective diet education. If you haven't watched that lesson number 5, please do. And it's going to give you all the tools to eat your protection from the sun. And I'm going to talk about a few more you can incorporate today. And you won't need to put on the chemical sunscreens that are now correlated with an increased risk of skin cancer. Cut the chemicals out of the diet, off the skin, because our body is constantly defending itself against environmental toxins. We've all cleaned up our cleaning products on a protective diet. We make household cleaning products out of food grade ingredients. And they're really simple, and they cut the costs of living on this healthy lifestyle, but they also clean up our environment. But we go and stay in hotels, and we go to the office. Maybe we work in the medical industry and we're in the hospital, and we're constantly having to put hand sanitizers on our hands because it's part of our job requisite. So I want to show you how to offer your body constant flow of protection to defend itself against chemicals that we can't avoid. Pesticides, there's long lists of things that we're constantly being exposed to, even if we're eating 100% organic. If you go out to eat, guess what? You are eating these lower quality of food than you can bring into your own home. So let's start with the tuber tonic, and that is turmeric root. We're using the fresh root, not the powdered turmeric or ground dried turmeric. It's got too bitter of a flavor. And we want to keep these in our freezer. Ginger and turmeric. Turmeric is how it's pronounced, actually. And that will keep it fresh, and it grates better on a microplane if you're using it frozen. So grate that in. Ginger as well. And black pepper. And that's it. Now we're taking this recipe to a new level. The black pepper helps with the bioavailability of the turmeric and the ginger. And it's also a protective spice. So the black pepper is going to be protective against DNA damage as well. And then we're going to add our water. I'm using filtered water from a Berkey water filter, which is what I prefer, or any type of water dispenser filter versus bottled water. We want to eliminate the bottled water out of our routine. It's loaded with BPA. It's a thin plastic bottle. You're drinking plastic is basically what you're doing. So avoid it and save yourself some money. Start off with like a Brita or a pure water filter pitcher. That would be a great start right there. And you can save yourself a lot of money as well. We're all about saving on a protective diet, and we can use that extra money to improve our food quality by buying organic ingredients to include into our diet. So then this would be the tuber tonic. We bring it to a boil. And the next ingredients, including protective spices, that is an Indian recipe for chai latte. And we're making it with whole spices. So we're using cloves, which are incredibly DNA protective. And we're using star anise, which is used in many of the protective diet recipes. All of these ingredients will be used again and again. The star anise is in the pho recipe, the Vietnamese soup. I don't have you buying one spice and having it sit in your cabinet. These protective spices are used over and over again because they're so DNA protective. So we have a green cardamom seed, which is also used in the Indian spice rice. And then we have whole black peppercorns, or you could use ground pepper. Either way. Chai has a spice to it. In India, chai means tea. And making this tea is a ritual for them, a ritual that is soothing. and it's a treat that they treat themselves to. These warming aromatic spices offer them protection. They know this is very protective, and that's why this tradition has kept on for so many years. And for years I used chai tea that was in the form of bags, which you can go for this. And this is what I use when I'm on the go. I take the bags with me. I don't eat any food additives, which is part of a protective diet. We eliminate food additives out of the diet, like natural flavor, and the word spices and citric acid. Those three main food additives that we see quite frequently on labels are chemical food additives that get you to desire the product more, to be a better consumer, to overconsume the product, and I don't want anything driving me to eat past full. So I choose teas that don't have those ingredients, and this is one of them, this Numi Rooibos chai tea, loaded with antioxidants. And I take this with me if I'm going out for tea with a friend, and I just order hot water and drop it in. That way I know I'm getting clean teas. This is what kind of happens when you've been practicing a clean and healthy lifestyle for a while. You simplify things. You have your one tea that you drink, but when I'm home, I make the tuber tonic or the whole spice chai so that I can eliminate all that paper waste. And these teas are expensive when you get into the organic brand teas, and I only get, how many are in here? So many bags per box. And this way I can make this with my tubers that are always handy in my freezer. And it's a lot more affordable to increase the food quality in my own home this way. So I bring this to a boil, and then you can, it's optional to add soy milk to it and make it into a latte, which is what I like to do. The other option you can do is add, you'll add soy milk to it, or you can just drink it as is, either way. And you can also add black tea, which contains catechins, which I wanted to talk about tea with you. They're also in the green tea. They're a higher level in the green tea, but the black tea also contains them. So when you're making any kind of stovetop tea and you're bringing that to a boil, all your spices and herbs are in there, infusing that brew, you want to bring it to a boil, turn it off before you add your loose black tea. And I'm using an English breakfast loose black tea that's from India. The link is on protectivediet.com if you wanted to order any of these things that you see me using here. And I choose the one that's on there is because it's not coming from a resource from China or a place that's heavily polluted, because I want everything that I'm putting into my body to be protective. I don't want my body to work overtime to have to detoxify with all of these spices, something that's included in them. Hopefully you understand that. And the soy milk that I choose, if you're in the protective diet community, bear with me. We just want to share this with our friends and family. We are choosing soy milk that is made with whole organic soybeans and water. That is it. No food additives, no natural flavor, nothing driving me to eat past full, no chemicals in my food, just whole soybeans and water, always organic. This one's from Trader Joe's, but you can buy West Soy or Eden Organic is another brand. And I just stock up my pantry with this. Angiogenesis inhibitors. Now, angiogenesis inhibitors are ingredients in food such as soybeans, tofu, brown rice, beans. It's in all of our fruits and vegetables. There's some that are studied a little bit more than others, like tofu and soybeans and soy milk. And what that does is it regresses the blood supply from tumors, as I experienced with my diagnosis of brain cancer. And a lot of times people are like, I can't believe you're eating this healthy, you're eating this clean, and you were diagnosed with brain cancer. And my experience with brain cancer, if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of crazy that I call it an experience with brain cancer. And I was diagnosed 2 years ago, and I no longer have brain cancer. And when it was found, it was encapsulated and regressed, just like I talk about in my protective diet education classroom, for years prior to this diagnosis. Brain cancer grows from childhood, and it's dependent on, are you feeding it fertilizers or are you giving it angiogenesis inhibitors, or are you giving it the catechins from the tea. All of these things can help to protect your cells from turning into a cancerous state. So studies are showing this, and more byproducts of food production are being studied down to the just detail. And these studies, I'm always researching for things that we can add into our protective diet to offer protection and flavor and variety. And there is so many byproducts, such as peels of citrus fruit from all the juicing companies, the oranges and the lemon juicing companies. And they're trying to figure out, what do we do with all these peels? We want to be able to sell them and market them in some way. And now what they're doing is they've studied how DNA protective the lemon peel is and citrus peels. So they are trying to market it into a dried, powdered form so that you can buy it in a capsule and pay way more money than I pay for my lemons that I make into preserved lemons. And they're delicious, and we add them to many recipes. We eat them plain as a palate cleanser like they do in India. We're actually removing the inner flesh of the lemon. And there's a class on this that we all need these together. It's lesson number 20 in protective diet education. We have what I call workplace for wellness classes, and we are just playing around in our kitchen, workplace for wellness, what I call it, and creating recipes. I'm showing you how to produce the recipes that I create for you that are extremely DNA protective, like lemon peels. And this,
my DNA needs protecting.
there you go. And we eat these as a palate cleanser, as they do in India. Now, it's very unusual to have the peels of lemons in your everyday diet. So that's why product companies, juicers, are trying to create a way to use their byproduct of these lemon peels, dehydrate them, powder them, put them into some kind of pill or supplement, which we know you need the whole food in order for the body to recognize it and for it to work. And this is so intensified lemon in flavor. It's delicious because it's preserved like this. Check out the preserved lemon recipe. And if you're not enrolled in our programming, there's 123 free recipes to get started today on a protective diet. Start with those. There's hundreds of free lessons. Just click on the free content and it'll drop down. And there's so many of these workplace for wellness classes, protective diet education classes, presentations that I did for Humana Insurance Guidance Centers, that you can watch and learn the basics and the foundation of a protective diet, and join our community, Protective Diet Living, on Facebook, where there's ongoing support, thousands of people that are practicing a protective diet and successful at it, that want to pay it forward and share with you how to do it. So check that out. Okay. Anyway, back to green tea. I was not a fan of green tea because I was drinking the wrong green tea. And I was drinking this organic gunpowder green tea, and it's very bitter, and it's awesome in a couple of the recipes that I have on Protective Diet. But straight up, I was not waking up in the morning saying, oh, I want to get in my catechins. Catechins are they remove free radicals that cause disease, aging, and wrinkles. So they're anti-aging, DNA protective ingredient in tea. Well, the chemical, the catechin in the green tea, actually protects the leaves from burning from the sun. Well, it does the same thing inside our body. It protects our skin. It protects everything throughout our body in so many ways. It's antiviral, it's antibacterial. Green tea is loaded with vitamin C as well. And the more of the catechin in it, sometimes the more bitter it tastes. So this one is very good for us. But there's different levels of green tea, and I find Japanese green tea to be the most pleasurable and delicate. And these two, sencha, and this one is called Goikuro. And it's or Guaycuro. It's spelled Gyokuro, and I find this to have the most delicate flavor, and it almost tastes like
Strawberries.
strawberries, like freeze-dried strawberries. If you've ever had those, that's what it reminds me of. It's something that I now get up in the morning and I can't wait to sip on, which was unbelievable to me. I spent a little bit more money on these than I ever have on green tea. And there's links for these on protectivediet.com in the shop under tea. And these are worth it because I use less of them, and you can, in order to extract all of the catechin, you can brew them 3 times. So, and they still taste delicious. So take a teaspoon. Teaspoon is recommended for 8 ounces of water. I use less than that even, but if I'm gonna brew it through 3 times, I use the teaspoon. And I have this new thermos that I love. It's a Yeti, and it keeps my tea really hot. And I have my electric tea kettle here. Normally I have a tea station. We just moved, a week ago now, and normally I have a tea station in my living room. It's just got all of my tea supplies in it and my electric tea kettle. But since I've been starting to make the tuber tonic on a daily basis and the chai latte, I moved all of my tea stuff is normally back here, and this is my prep area, but I moved it up here for tonight's class. So I'll show you how I do this. This is a little tea brewer. You could use one of these. If I'm staying home and I'm enjoying my tea, I just put it into this little pitcher. You could also put it into a jar like this. You don't have to have one of these special pitchers. You could put it into a jar and brew it, and then strain it. And let's see here, with green tea, you want to bring it to a high temperature.
There is a question in the chat right now.
Sure.
Does the green tea keep you up like caffeine?
No, I generally drink it earlier in the day and later in the day. Actually, green tea has a low amount of caffeine to it versus black tea. Both are protective, by the way, but the green tea has a lower amount of caffeine in it, and it doesn't stain your teeth like some black teas do. But on a protective diet, we've got the tooth polish. You can try that recipe. It's a charcoal tooth polish, or use baking soda to get tea stains off, but I like the green tea because it doesn't stain my teeth. But flower water, which is hibiscus flowers. I drink this at night in place of my red wine, which is no longer my red wine. I gave up wine a couple years ago with my diagnosis of brain cancer because the inclusion of alcohol in the diet, it increases your risk of cancer. So why would I include that in my diet? And the inclusion of alcohol moderately to promote health, which contains catechins, would be a 4-ounce pour. This is a 5-ounce pour. So it would be a 4-ounce pour for a person my size for it to be safe for me to consume on a daily basis as a health promoter of catechins. This is something else I want to bring to your attention. This promoting of alcohol, wine, for health protection is marketing. So I don't want to include anything like alcohol, which ages us faster, increases our risk of cancer, dehydrates us, affects our sleep, in order to promote my health. So I'm choosing flower water, which I still go through the ritual of having the fancy glass and the ritual of having the flower water instead of wine. I don't want to stop living altogether because I'm living healthy. So I still want to include these routines and rituals in my diet with the flower water. And the flower water is loaded with anthocyanins, which is another phytochemical that's super protective, and it's found in red and purple things like blueberries and very photoprotective from the sun.
Will you spell that G, that T?
The T?
Yes,
It's
please.
GYOKURO. And that one it's grown in the shade. It's very delicate in flavor. It has a little bit lower of a level of catechins, but not so low that we're not discounting it. Lower than the Sencha green tea, but the flavor is more delicate. I usually mix them together because I have them both, but if you want something that's super delicate in flavor, give the GYOKURO green tea a try. It's very bright in color, and I probably brew my green tea not as strong as it's recommended, and that will help to reduce the caffeine as well. But as you can see, I use very hot water, and that's important. You want it higher than 176 degrees Fahrenheit. So you want it boiling in your electric tea kettle to really extract the catechins, those phytochemicals. 70 to 80 degrees Celsius for those of you that are not in the US. And these catechins are so protective against oxidative damage. They defend against the sun, as I said, toxins in our environment, and it's very anti-aging, and I'm focused on that. I'm 45 now, and after the last 2 years of going through that whole cancer experience, I was fortunate that I was able to walk my own path and not go for the radiation and chemotherapy that was recommended, so my body took less of a toll. I was fortunate that I was including all of these protective foods in my diet for a decade before I was diagnosed with this, so that I could have the protective diet advantage to have the tumor removed that was encapsulated and regressed away from my brain so that it was removable, and then heal up and repair. And I had to have a cranioplasty. It was just 4 months ago, and that was to reconstruct my skull where they removed it. I had 4 brain surgeries in the past 2 years, and I am fantastic. In this last month, I've noticed a huge shift in my energy, in everything about myself and my confidence, and it's due to the research I've done about food and knowing that I'm not at risk of cancer coming back. Every oncologist, every doctor I spoke to, it always comes back. Well, that's what they're experiencing. That's not what I'm going to experience. I have an arsenal here in my workplace for wellness, in my kitchen, that's empowering me, and I want to empower you with it, because these tools are free. These tools are food. We all have to eat food every single day. We all have to drink beverages. Let's make the right choices. All we need is a little direction. Someone to say, hey, just drink this in place of this. Do this for 30 days and see how you feel. And this is the science to back it up so that you have confidence. So when I'm brewing this up in my kitchen, or I'm simmering up a pot of this ritual of this beautiful protective chai latte, and I add my cup of milk right into there. This makes 2 really nice chai lattes, big ones for Jerry and I, and we usually finish our meals with this. We finish our dinner with this. I skipped the black tea on this because I'm having it at night. It's still just as protective, but if you're accustomed to drinking coffee or drinking black tea and you like a little pep from the caffeine of the black tea, go ahead and throw it in there. I find that my energy is so high from my diet and my joy in my health and feeling so protected that I don't need the caffeine, and I have that little bit in the green tea in the morning, and if I have extra green tea throughout the day, but it's not something I notice. But if you need the caffeine, go ahead and put the black tea in there. You're adding extra protection as well. So here is the whole spice chai latte. To finish off our meal with something, with a ritual, and this helps with eliminating the need for desserts. Although on a protective diet we have many snacks and desserts and sweets that are not, they're sugar free, but they're delicious. So this is our chai latte, and then I'll show you with the green tea how I do the green tea.
Give me the chai latte.
Jeremy wants his chai latte. So spoiled. Sometimes we feel like we're sacrificing eating so healthy, but there's no sacrifice here. We're improving our food quality, giving our body everything that it needs. And in the pre-class chat, we have a chat before the class starts, and I'm going to pour this into my thermos to brew this green tea to show you how this works. If I'm taking it to go, this is how I make it. If I take it with me on a cold dog walk, that's how I make it. Take it over to see the sunset, and I put the lid on top of it while it's brewing so it stays nice and hot. This thermos actually keeps it too hot to drink sometimes. And then this one, I do the same thing with that tea strainer. In the pre-class chat, Rachel was talking about donuts, that I passed up 2 opportunities to eat donuts today, and oh, it was so hard. And I've gotten to the point, maybe it's because of my life experience, going through the challenges and struggles I had in my late 20s and 30s, and getting through that, and then having this cancer experience. I look at every opportunity that I can eat something protective, something that's going to promote my immune system, like this green tea. This green tea, the catechin protects our immune system. It protects the foundation of our immune system called our endothelium. Those cells protect us from disease. And they've studied how green tea, the inclusion of beautiful organic Japanese green tea, can actually ward off influenza and the common cold. Green tea has shown to reduce symptoms of allergies from pollen and mold. So if you're one that suffers from allergies in the spring and the summer, and you're sneezing and you're coughing and you're itchy, include some of this green tea and get yourself some of this delicious green tea so that you're not suffering through it. This should always be pleasurable, everything we eat on a protective diet. Nothing should be a torturous thing. If you don't like cilantro, even though it's detoxifying, don't make it your main dish meal. If you see me topping my chili with a ton of cilantro, pass up on that and pick something else green to get started with. And your taste buds will evolve and start to begin to love greens and protective foods. Is just how it works. Exposure therapy, keep tasting it. But this is the green tea, and you can see it's very light in color, very delicate in aroma, and it's got that like freeze-dried strawberry smell to it. The Gaio Curo is the name of the one that's very mild and delicate. The Sencha, I should pour this into a clear container so you can see the color of this one. It's very similar and light as well. I'll pour it into this jar. But it's got a little bit more of a green tone to it. You can see it's got some green tea particles in there too. With this strainer, is not as effective as these little tea strainers that you can find at any grocery store. That's not a hard thing to pick up. But on a protective diet, we use these ingredients, these spices, as fundamentals on our daily diet so that we can incorporate protection every single day at every single meal. My cabinet is loaded with protective spices. My refrigerator is loaded with protective vegetables and herbs. And all of these things become delicious with the inclusion of the spices, which are protective, DNA protective, protecting us from all disease, cancer included. This is in medical journals. They are studying this heavily. They are studying all of the plant ingredients. They're picking these plants apart and making pharmaceuticals out of them. They're bottling them up into a pill, angiogenesis inhibitors, that are found in the soybean. They are putting that into a pill and offering it to people like me that were diagnosed with brain cancer to regress inoperable tumors. So why not go straight to the source, the whole food, plant-based source of all your fruits and vegetables, your tubers, your spices, and your whole grains. Don't forget the whole grains and the potatoes. That's what we're eating on a protective diet. Are there any questions coming through?
I'm checking right now.
Okay, we did have one question in the pre-class chat. One of our members was having some challenges with GERD. She's on a full-time protective diet and she's getting through the 30-day detox. That just means that her body is not going to have any cravings after the 30 days is up, and she's going to be feeling good. She's going to have detoxified, and she has reprogrammed her taste buds to start to enjoy natural foods and eliminate the food additives out of her diet. But she was complaining that she had severe GERD before, and now she's having a little bit of heartburn. What can she do to eliminate this heartburn? And one thing she can do starting today is to eat a little bit more moderately sized meals. Now, we don't restrict the portions on a protective diet. We're eating very low calorie food because we're removing the fats and heavily processed foods out of the diet and animal products. So if she reduces the size of her meal, she's going to have less acid coming up. She could eat more often if she wishes to, just getting started on a protective diet. So that will help. And also, long-term practice of a protective diet is going to eliminate that heartburn completely.
There is one question. The question is, with that GT that you've been talking about,
Yes.
should they get the tea bags or buy the loose leaf?
I always say go for the loose leaf because you want it to be this ritual. Now it's a lot simpler. I've brewed 3 cups of it here, but you want to have this little bit of a ritual because you can buy the bags. Go ahead. I'm very environmentally focused, so I do not use tea bags at home. I use them if I take my tea to go, like if I'm going to brew it while I'm out or while I'm traveling. But at home, I always brew the loose leaf tea. I feel like it's so much. I don't know what that paper has gone through. Now, I was touched with cancer, and I'm going for optimal health. It depends where you're at with in the game here. You don't have to fast forward to, superhuman overnight. Start with the tea bags if that's what works for you and that's what's convenient, because that's where I started. I have a drawer of tea bags now that I stopped buying tea bags, and I find I save myself a lot of money buying these because I've had these for 3 months now. So, and they're still very full. You use a very little bit in order to make your brew. And then with the whole spices, with the chai latte, that goes a long way too. And check out your international markets in your area. We did international market tours. We went to Indian grocery stores. We went to Middle Eastern grocery stores, Asian grocery stores, and I showed you how to buy those bulk spices for very inexpensive.
Angela included that eating smaller amounts help the GERD go away.
Fantastic, yeah. Angela's a fantastic example of this, and I'm trying to think. Oh, also the green tea is very protective, orally protective. So it's antibacterial. So people that drink green tea have a reduced gum disease. It reduces gum disease risk, and it reduces your risk of cavities and also enamel deterioration or wearing. So because it's cleansing, your breath will be fresher after drinking green tea. So if you were formerly a coffee drinker and you're switching to green tea, when you're going through that transition, it's a pretty rough time. I did it. I gave up the coffee. It was a hard thing for me. I gave up the sugar. I'm just like you. I went through this transition all by myself. I didn't have the support of Protective Diet Education or the support of our beautiful community that is always here to assist.
Speaking of that, we have 2 more questions.
Yes.
Question number 1 was from Diana. She asked, how much tea leaves, loose leaf tea do you use?
1 teaspoon to 8 ounces is what the package recommends, but I'm using 1 teaspoon. I usually use less than that, about half a teaspoon to this pitcher, which is 16 ounces. And then I brew this 2 more times. So I strained it, and then in order to get all of the benefits of the catechin out of that 1 teaspoon or half teaspoon, whatever you choose to go with, brew it 3 times. I need to add more water to my tea kettle here, but brew it 3 times. And so if you are at home working, I just leave the leaves in there, and then when I want another cup of tea, I heat it up and put it in. This is something you cannot do with a tea bag. I mean, in a tea bag, I want you all to look at a tea bag and see what's really in there. A lot of times it looks more like sawdust than it does tea leaves. Now, these green tea leaves are gonna open up, and they're so beautiful and bright green, and they look like they're leaves. Let's see. I'm still getting used to where
How
everything
much
is.
tea do you drink in a day, Julie?
I usually do about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, like I said, for this pitcher, and I make 3 out of that 1 serving of the tea. And then I have my chai latte when I finish my meal.
Let me show them what it looks like. Close up.
It's so hard to see not in the, well, they can see it in here maybe better.
Okay.
It's hot. If you stir it around a little bit, move it. They're like whole leaves, they're beautiful, and they're hand-picked. It's special stuff. So if you were into the wine thing before, get into the fancy green teas. We all deserve a treat. And my treat this year, Jerry's father and stepmother, they always give us this wonderful gift of a Whole Food gift card, because they're always like, oh yeah, they'll use that. Well, Jerry and I aren't big Whole Food shoppers, and sometimes we are. There's certain items that we find there that are great, and it's just not that conveniently located to where we live, but we just moved and now there's one near to us. But a protective diet can be done with a regular old grocery store. It doesn't have to have a specialty grocery store like that. But I treated myself to this thermos from there, and it's made my tea even more special. And I used part of their gift card to have a gift that I have for a really long time, so I always think of them and their Christmas gift to us, rather than just buying ginger root or something with it, which is so awesome and helpful too. But treat yourself to a nice thermos or a new tea mug, or something that's going to make it feel like a ritual. If you're giving up alcohol in your diet, I still drink out of my beautiful favorite wine glasses that I had. I'm not going to give up these rituals in order to become healthy. I'm just giving up the things that were holding me back, that were making me sick, that were continuing on my obesity or growing disease within my body. Go ahead, Jim.
What's the most important component to being healthy? You said to be healthy. What is that?
The most important component to being healthy is getting the negative foods out of the diet. It's the diet. We cannot exercise off bad food choices.
And negative, the endothelium?
Yes, we need to promote our endothelium. It's the single cell layer wall that runs throughout all of our blood vessels and our lymph vessels. If we protect that single cell layer wall with every bite we take, with the environments that we are in, if we stop smoking, if you're smoking, that's the number 1 thing you can do. Stop smoking if you're smoking. Number 2 thing you can do is get out all the foods that break down the endothelium, like sugar, animal products, oils, fats, saturated fats. And what happens is disease reverses, body fat comes off rapidly, and the body becomes into a state of health. And it can protect itself from viruses, from colds. We don't struggle through seasonal illnesses, and we most certainly aren't dying of heart disease, and we're not dying of brain cancer.
That's awesome.
So protect your endothelium with all you got. Make every bite count. If I can send any message, eliminate the bad stuff. Stop worrying about the supplements. We don't supplement on a protective diet. We're eating simple foods that you can find in any grocery store. This class was focused on these specialty things like teas to add caloric-free protection into our daily routine and ritual, because we've been focusing in our community about mindful eating, and stop the snacks was a challenge that we had, because I really wanted people to line up to their meals and eat a really good hearty breakfast, lunch, and dinner if they're just getting started on mindful eating, and just eliminate the grazing all day, the constant need to feed. And we're going to talk about a class, we're going to have a class about that on next Tuesday's lesson. And I want to eliminate those snacks to improve your food satisfaction. Mealtime food satisfaction is really important when you're eating natural, healthy foods. So by sipping on this mid-morning for me, I've eliminated my snacks, because I was a snacker when it felt cold. I was a snacker when I felt like I needed a break from the computer. I would find any excuse to find myself in this kitchen. And now I come in here and I have my ritual routine of making my green tea. And it satisfies my need of finding something for myself, taking me away from my computer, taking me away from work for 5 to 10 minutes to make this and sip on this and take a break for myself, because we all deserve a break, but a break doesn't have to mean eating or food. And a lot of moms struggle with this, because they can tell their kids, I have to eat, I'm not finished eating yet, before they get to tending to them. That's reasonable. But to say to them, I need a timeout, I need to sit down and be quiet, I need quiet, it seems kind of self-indulgent. So say, I need a cup of protection. Teach your kids, this isn't mommy's diet, this is a diet for your entire family to achieve optimal health together. I want everyone that you know, I want everyone that I know, but I want anyone that I can reach to see this as an opportunity to have a struggle-free life and save money. Jerry and I are spending less than $100 a week on all of our groceries, and we eat primarily organic, to where the cost of living on a protective diet is so slim, it's so small, and we're including a lot of special treats in that cost of living. And I've noticed a reduction in our weekly food costs since I stopped the snacks. We're not buying as many. And in next week's lesson, I'm going to teach you how to still include the treats on a protective diet into your meals, so that you're eating a little bit less and you're sitting down into a really enjoyable meal that finishes with a dessert, but it's incorporated into a nice food portion, so you're not overeating, but you're not snacking and grazing all day. You're giving your body that digestive break, so the body can focus its energy on scanning and looking for imperfection that it needs to repair and heal. Because our bodies are designed to do this, just like a plant. When a plant gets torn, it knits itself back together and it repairs with the phytochemicals it creates itself. Well, when we eat those phytochemicals from plants, guess what our body can do? It can detoxify irregular cells, and it can promote that endothelium so that disease can't enter. Go ahead.
And Ann wrote in saying that she's been on the protective diet for 8 days.
Fantastic.
And she's off
yeah.
her GERD medication for the first time in over 30 years.
Oh, that's so great.
Wow.
It's amazing what we can do in a 30-day period on a protective diet. So those of you that are in this classroom every single week for the past 4 years or longer, or you just got started or you just got back into it, you've been following along for a year and you're like, I'm doing this. Congratulations. Congratulations for being here tonight. If you've never even heard of a protective diet before and this is your first exposure to it, I'd be surprised, but I'm excited that I'm reaching you. Like our Facebook page, Protective Diet, join Protective Diet Living, our official support group. It's a free group for anyone to get support and encouragement. And go to protectivediet.com, click on those free recipes and pick one out and start cooking. And if you're confused about certain ingredients we use, ask us in Protective Diet Living. We're there to assist you and excited to meet new members in our community and encourage them along. All right, well, we're gonna say goodnight for tonight then, and I'm looking forward to next week, and I wanted to let our members know that are here with us every week. I have been for 2 weeks without a refrigerator. We just moved into this apartment. Oh, well, we've been in this condo for 2 weeks now. It'll be 2 weeks on Thursday.
Yes.
And Thursday, we're getting a new refrigerator. So this has been it for us. And we've had to go buy ice every single day to keep Lucky's dog food cold, because we feed our dog a protective diet as well. Big surprise. There is a protective diet dog food recipe if you're interested. And in here I have all of my important things, like my preserved lemons. I'm protecting them. And my protective diet vinaigrettes. This is the sweet onion vinaigrette with added leeks for protection, because those allium family of vegetables, onions, garlic. Oh, before you go, I almost forgot, I have a tip. Of course I have a tip for you this week. Eat your garlic peels. This is something that I was learning as I was investigating DNA protection, anti-aging, things that we can incorporate into our daily diet. Garlic peels. Well, a lot of you have been putting those garlic peels into your veggie broth baggie and cooking them up to make soup stock, veggie broth, which is a recipe on Protective Diet. You can make in your pressure cooker or on the stovetop. Well, another way to get them into your diet is to put them into your vinaigrettes, into your ultimate cheese sauce, which is a dairy-free cheese sauce. I want you buying your garlic as it is in nature, another byproduct of processing garlic. You see these bulk containers of peeled garlic at Costco or in your grocery store. Pass on those. But those companies are now studying the benefits of garlic peels because they want to know what to do with all this wasted peels. What do we do with this? Is this good for us? Maybe we can powder it, put it into a supplement, and charge $50 for a jar. Well, that's what they're doing. And keep your eye out, because garlic peel extract is going to be a new hot product coming out because of all of these studies that have been funded by the garlic industry to show that these are beneficial. I'm sure the garlic industry has something to do with those studies, but or a pharmaceutical company or a vitamin company. But put the whole thing in. So if you're making your ultimate cheese sauce, you're making your vinaigrettes, your oil-free Protective Diet vinaigrettes, put it in there. If you have a high-speed blender, this is something you can do for yourself. Offer yourself some serious protection. So the garlic contains phenylpropanoid. That's the name of the phytochemical found in the peel. And it's an organic compound that's synthesized by plants that are protective to your DNA, just like they're protecting the plants from predators or sun or whatever it needs defense for. It does the same thing inside our body. And it's very anti-aging. So you're gonna see it in anti-aging supplements coming up. But don't bother with the supplements. We've got it for free on our garlic, and it's going to impart flavor in our Protective Diet. Go ahead, Jerry.
Diana just wrote in saying, so we take off the papery part and nothing else?
No, don't remove the papery part. Just like no.
Don't remove anything.
No, you're just putting this in. Like normally we would break off a clove, you'd put it on a cutting board, smash it with a knife, peel off the paper, or you'd put it through a garlic press, which I still do that. So when I press a clove through a garlic press, It's because I'm using it not in my blended recipe. But anytime you're blending a sauce, like a salsa or ultimate cheese sauce or your
Pesto pasta.
vinaigrettes. Pesto pasta isn't a good one because
Okay.
I want that done in the food processor. It's a
Gotcha.
much better flavor. And it's chopped. If you're making falafel, don't leave the peels on because you're just blending those in the food processor to a small dice. But anytime you're blending garlic, French onion dip. Oh my gosh, the Protective Diet French onion dip. It tastes just like Dean's, just like the French onion dip I grew up buying in the tub. Put that peel right in there. And so you've got that DNA protection, anti-aging. I'm doing my research for you because all of the anti-aging, chemotherapeutic ingredients to combat cancer, to get the advantage so that we're one step ahead of a disease developing, are here in our Workplace for Wellness. And get those broccoli sprouts going. The sulforaphane, it's super detoxifying. So it detoxifies irregular cells, helps the liver to detoxify. So we've got to eat these sprouts. They're one of the easiest, most inexpensive things to start growing. And if you have kids, they'll help you, they'll remind you, rinse the sprouts. So that's a great addition to your kitchen of protection.
Okay, it's time to sign off.
Okay.
Where would they go if they want more information?
ProtectiveDiet.com. You can find everything there. And if you're just getting started, click on the free material and you're gonna love it. It's so much fun to get healthy within our community. And Protective Diet Living on Facebook. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Take care and best of health to all of you. Cheers to optimal health. We're all getting it in this community. So join us. It's for everyone.